A closer look at the top political headlines this week. Joining us, of course, Deputy Political Director Averi Harper and ABC White House correspondent MaryAlice Parks in Iowa. Welcome to you both. Averi, let's go ahead and start with you because we saw President Biden at that campaign event this week. And it seems like the message seems to be about threats to American democracy. Is that message going to land for voters?
Right. Well, this definitely was not a policy speech. This was really President Biden taking direct aim at former President Trump and what he calls MAGA extremism on the anniversary of the January 6th attack at the Capitol. And so this is something that we're going to hear President Biden say throughout the campaign. We know that former President Trump has denied any wrongdoing as it pertains to January 6th. But is this enough to galvanize voters? The Biden campaign thinks it is. But we do know when we look at polling that the most important issues to voters as they decide who they're casting ballots for is matters of the economy and inflation. And I think the Biden campaign knows that. So I think in addition to talking about matters of democracy, they're also going to have to weave in some of these other issues like inflation and the economy.
And MaryAlice, let's go to you there in Iowa, because sadly this week there was another mass shooting, this time at a school there, as Republicans are on the campaign trail ahead of the Iowa caucuses. We saw the issue of guns in the political spotlight once again. What are the candidates saying?
Yeah, we're at that shooting just about 40 minutes from here. Students returning their first day back to class after the holidays. Trump last night offered his condolences, but he said, I have to get over it. We have to move forward. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis asked multiple times. They said they are not in favor of any new restrictions on any kind of restrictions on any access to any guns. I mean, these are candidates that have not wanted in any way to add new laws. They have talked about hardening schools, adding security to schools. Nikki Haley talked about mental health, but I will say she hasn't offered a lot of specifics on how she would address mental health. Democrats, well, they are running on this issue. They are bringing it up constantly. The White House yesterday put out a statement saying that 500 illegal gun purchases have been stopped because of stricter new background checks put in place by this administration. They are worried about this issue. They are bringing up, too, the fact that gun deaths are rising so sharply among kids. Now the leading cause of death among children.
And Averi, let's bring you back in. It's been a big week. We also saw the Supreme Court add to their docket that case from Colorado about whether former president should be on the state's ballot. When will we know more about this? And how closely are voters watching, or should they be watching this?
Right. Well, the Supreme Court is going to hear arguments in this on February 8th. And the timing here is really important because state primaries will be underway. And so these legal challenges and what the Supreme Court is going to rule could have an impact on the legal challenges to Trump's eligibility in states across the country. Now, there are vocal critics of the president, like Chris Christie, who's running against him for the GOP nomination, who say that these legal challenges could be an argument for Trump to make himself a martyr or to make himself a victim of political persecution. But, you know, when we look at polling, we know that former President Trump has dominated in this race so far. And so it's hard to tell whether Trump is garnering any additional support from these cases.
But we know you're going to be watching that. And MaryAlice, let's bring you back in here, because do you see any surprises coming out of Iowa? That's where you are. Trump last night telling voters he is worried that his lead in the polls, they will just stay home.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I think that there absolutely could be surprises here in Iowa. Love them or hate them, the caucuses are interesting. Voters all in one room hashing it out together. And you're right, Trump is clearly worried that people might stay home and not come out to vote because of the polling showing him so far ahead. But I talked to the Republican state party chair here. He said that people have a renewed sense of urgency to caucus, that people are who are planning not to caucus for Trump, they want to come out and send a message to the rest of the country. Gio?
All right. MaryAlice and Averi, thank you so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.